Hi everyone and welcome back to the Colour Cave. It's Jem here and today I am bringing you the May Scrawlrbox unboxing. I am particularly excited because I have a rare day off, so I've got plenty of time to play with the supplies. So we're just going to get straight to it and we can get going. Okay, so let's rock. I like the fact that I don't have to mess about with knives and things to open this box. So for the uninitiated, this is Scrawlrbox, the UK's only monthly subscription box. You pay a monthly fee and they send you a box of surprise goodies. There's a few items you always get in the box. You have a featured artist who creates a piece of artwork, and there's usually a sweet, a sticker and a list of the supplies. They normally give you some sort of surface to draw or create on, and we certainly have some of this. Okay, oh, this is beautiful. This is exciting. The featured artist is Phoebe Cripps. And she has loved art from a very young age. Well, that's good. At the bottom, there's a little bit about her, obviously, and then at the bottom there are her links to social media. So if you enjoy what you see, you can go and check out her other work elsewhere. Okay, we have another Clairefontaine pad. We did get one of these before, and it was a pad of black paper, and this is the grey version. And it's rather fetching. It's quite attractive. I like it. A nice mid-tone grey. It's A5 size and it's 250 GSM, so that's about £115, and there's 8 sheets of acid-free paper in here. Oh, this is exciting. It's kind of like multimedia paper. It has got a texture to it. So it's thick enough to take a little bit of water as well. I think I have tried it on the black paper and I didn't have too much bother with that. So this is really high quality paper, and there are plenty of sheets in it as well for you to practice and make some happy accidents before you go on and create something beautiful. One of the newer additions to the Scrawlrbox, which we got for the first time last month, is the Scrawler Zine. So there's a little bit about the supplies and things in here as well, so I'm not going to look at this just yet. I would like to just poke about the supplies myself. I just like the surprise element, what can I say? And everything's quite neatly packaged in here. Oh, that sounded a bit painful. So we've got our sticker, which looks remarkably like the front of the Scrawler Zine. The last few months it's been a part of the picture that the featured artist has provided, and as far as I can see it's not. It matches our magazine, but it's a nice little sticker all the same. I think they've gone back to paper stickers. That was one of their ideas. This doesn't feel very papery though, and this is all about reducing plastic, so they have become a little bit more eco-friendly over the last little while. ecoliving.co.uk. This looks like cotton buds. Maybe they've given them a fancy name, but they look like cotton buds to me. Or Q-tips if you're in America. I love Q-tips. I think it's a great phrase. Come on. Yeah, they are literally cotton buds. They're obviously eco-friendly cotton buds. They're probably made from recycled materials, but they look like cotton buds. So this is going to be for some smudging and smearing, so I'm thinking that we might have like a charcoal pencil or something in here. Oh no, we've just got a whopping great big stick of charcoal. Again, this is quite tightly wrapped up, but I'm assuming that's what it is, because charcoal can be very messy and we wouldn't want it covering all of the rest of the supplies. Get out of the packaging. Oh yes, and it's crumbling away in my hands. Okay, so we have a charcoal stick of some description. This looks like willow charcoal. Oh, there's more than one piece of charcoal in here. I'm getting ahead of myself here, guys. Okay, so we have a stick, a chunky stick like this, and as you can see it's coming off my fingers already, and we've also got a thinner stick. See, I think this is willow charcoal, and it is quite delicate. You've got to be quite careful with it. So, oh, this is exciting. We're going to go smudgy with this. I am excited already because charcoal is not something that I am familiar with, but a lot of people have said it's kind of like a natural progression from using graphite pencils. It's just a slightly messier format, so I think that'll probably suit me down to the ground, to be honest. Right, let's kind of shove this away. See what else we've got in here. We've got, oh yeah, this is the Faber-Castell Perfection eraser. It's a double-ended eraser, but it's a pencil basically, and I absolutely detested this the last time we got one of these. It just didn't do anything for me. So yep, that's interesting. I do know people that swear by them and really like them. I'm just not one of those people, unfortunately. We've got a Lyra this is really difficult to say. A Lyra Rembrandt Splendor Blender. Again, I have had one of these before. This is a blending pencil, and what it is basically a core of what's in their pencils but without the pigment. Some of them are wax based, some of them are oil based, but I'm sure we'll be able to read up a little bit more about this. And this is to help you blend your coloured pencils. I personally prefer the Derwent blender because it seems to behave well with most coloured pencils regardless of the makeup of them. We have got Kohinoor Hardmouth Gioconda charcoal pencil, and it says 8810/2 on the end. I don't know what that means, but it looks like it's got quite a chunky core on it, so that's hopefully going to be quite stable to use. I want to see how messy it is, and it is coming off on my finger there, so it's maybe not quite in the same messy status as the charcoal, but it's definitely charcoal. 2 Rembrandt pencils. We've got white pastel, and we have got sepia light, and it says dry on the end as well, so okay, take from that what you will. Again, we can test those out, and I love these because they come unsharpened. We get to sharpen them ourselves, and that's one of the joys and rites of passage of having a new pencil. They are really thick and they do feel really good quality. I like that a lot. I value that a lot, especially in pencils. Okay, we've got a few. We've got a sweet here which looks remarkably like a licorice something or other. It's got stripes in it. We'll find out soon enough. A twin hole sharpener, and it is a Kum twin hole sharpener. So this is a German brand, and Kum sharpeners are pretty good quality. These blades are replaceable as well, so when they dull you can switch them out really easily, and these have a reputation for being quite reliable pencil sharpeners as well, so I am happy to have that in my repertoire. And lastly, I have a Winsor & Newton medium kneaded putty rubber, and it's in a little protective casing. And I don't know whether I'm going to be able to slide it out of there or whether I'm going to have to bust this open. I really don't want to because it looks pretty in the casing. Tries to preserve, oh there we go, preserve things. Yes, so it's got like, it's almost like a layer of film over it. Ooh. Oh, stop sticking to me. I like kneaded erasers, and I tend to favour them over other erasers generally, and it's just because you have this malleability and you can shape it in, you know, you can get it into quite tight spaces, but it's also very gentle on textured papers, some types of watercolour paper and handmade papers, and you can still take away the bulk of your graphite or whatever it is without damaging the paper. So I really like them. The one I'm using just now is blue. The white ones are good because you can actually see how dirty they get, because they put, rather than rubbing off and leaving shavings behind, these just basically absorb the graphite or the charcoal, so they get blacker and blacker and dirtier, and you keep kneading them in together, but you get to a point where it's saturated and it won't pick up anymore, and you know that's when it's time to throw it out and get a new one. So that's much easier to see with a white one rather than the pale blue ones, which kind of look like a lump of blue tack. So there's some more useless information for you. Right, let's take a look at the supplies list and see what else we can learn about these. I love the opening line on this card. Humans and charcoal both have a high percentage of carbon in common. What is that? This month we want you to use carbon-based tools in this box to create a portrait of your carbon hero. Oh my. Okay, Coates Willow charcoal sticks. So these are the ones I was talking about. Highest quality charcoal, and it's from renewable willow beds on the Somerset levels. The result is a superior charcoal, black in colour, smooth in texture, as favoured by fine artists. This is sea white compressed charcoal, ideal for broad expressive drawing and fine detail, because you can use the little corners for that. You know, you can tip it on its edge and just, or you can use the whole face of it to make big broad strokes, which I quite like, stuff like that. Creates deep dense tones, is naturally water soluble, allowing for interesting line and wash effects. Well, that's also good to know. The Gioconda charcoal pencil, ideal for fine tuning your sketches and neatening any expressive charcoal marks. This pencil gives you well loved traditional charcoal textures with great control and a sharp point. The Rembrandt chalk pencils. These are oil-free pencils, so these are the dry ones we were talking about. Can be blended and blurred to perfection using fingers, cotton buds or putty eraser. They layer extremely well and are fantastic for adding realistic shading or highlights to your work. So we've got a kind of earth tone one and a white one. So I'm thinking that these are kind of like pastel pencils, even though they don't specifically say, because they say chalk pencils, and I know people talk about chalk pastels. The Lyra Rembrandt Splendor blender pencil. It's a colourless blending pencil. When applied with little pressure, gives a glossy surface and helps blend tones together seamlessly. Polite notice, this month's treat is also suitable for vegetarians. Now you know. The putty eraser can be sculpted for erasing ease into a fine point for delicate details, useful for picking out highlights, or used en masse to lift the larger areas of charcoal without smearing. The eraser pencil. Perfect for fine detail erasing and sharpening like ordinary pencils. It's great for precision erasing when a little more control is needed. Think of it as reverse drawing rather than erasing. The pencil sharpener. Not much to be said. High carbon steel blades, resilient, very sharp. The weight of this paper makes it a suitable surface for a variety of dry techniques. The mid-tone surface is particularly useful for creating dramatic contrast between highlights and shadows. That's generally why people use mid-tone paper. Okay, and the scroller challenge, as we already know, is Carbon Heroes, so that's quite interesting. It tells us nothing about this sweet, so I'm just going to assume it's licorice. I forgot about the magazine. Testing out that sweet, it's mint. It's like a mint humbug. I'm pretty sure I can feel my teeth disintegrating as I eat this though. Ooh, it's an Everton mint, there we go, it tells you in the magazine it's an Everton mint. It mentions a lot of things. Okay, here we go, it was the cotton buds, because I realised that the cotton buds weren't on this card and then I remembered about the magazine. It just says use these to blend and smudge the charcoal, the most eco-friendly cotton buds in the world. They don't provide any information about the company, but the company do have their website on the sticker on the actual packet, so you can go and check that out if you want to. Double doubles, 2 different ends and 2 different holes, make the most of these. Oh my goodness, right, we'll not say any more about that then. The artist print, they're saying here that the original artwork was 50 by 65 centimetres, so it was almost life size. So that's moderately interesting. Right, let's see what else. So we've got the sit down with the May featured artist and some of her artwork. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, her work's nice. Her work is nice. So there's some, it's like an interview kind of thing there. And we have tips on how to use the charcoal. So that's good for me because I haven't used it and I'll probably just end up, smudging it about, making a mess. But I'm not going to read this right now because where's the fun in that? I might read it before we actually do the scroller challenge. I love these pages as well because this is people's submissions for the previous scroller challenges and I love seeing these. It's nice to see them all laid out like this and not be like scrolling through Instagram. That might just be me. Some of these are absolutely beautiful. I like them a lot. So yeah, we can look at that. A little bit about an extension of what charcoal actually is. They're also talking in their update about scroller points, which is earning points and getting discounts. This is like a loyalty scheme, I think. There are lots of different ways you can earn scroller points, and these points can be used for discounts on future purchases or money off your current subscription. Now you're talking my language. We also have a new referral system in place where you can send your friends a discount off a subscription and get money off in return when they subscribe. Finally, many of you have been in touch with us asking if there is somewhere for you to leave a review about us, and we're happy to tell you that there is now an official reviewing page on the new website. They haven't gone to Trustpilot or anything, they're doing it in-house. I like this little magazine, it's just the right size, there's information in it but it's not too much, but it's something that you could sit down with a cup of tea and just chill out for 10-15 minutes. Okay, this time I promise we're going to start playing with the supplies. Oh. Okay, so we're going to use the paper that came in the box. And you know fine well the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this charcoal. So, as suspected, it's dry. But we can get some thin lines here and we can, oh okay, well that's not up to much. There we go. Get some mess going on. And I'm just going to go straight in there with my finger. So it's super smudgy and I would wager, depending on the amount of pressure that you put down when you're actually, laying the block down, that you will be able to almost blend out completely the initial lines that you made. Oh, this is fun. Whee! So childish, I know. And even the thin lines, and I pressed quite hard on that first one and it's still got a little bit of blendability about it, which is nice. So it is quite thick and dark, and the paper seems to be able to take a couple of layers of it, so you could get that quite saturated. Yeah, look at that. Now the willow charcoal, I'm a bit frightened about this, to be honest. Oh, you get lovely fine lines with that, and I actually really like the colour of it a bit better. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. It might just look black to you, but it's got a more sort of slightly greyish tone to it, and it feels very delicate. And this is more something I would use because I like things with a really fine point. Okay, I want to try the slightly larger piece as well. I'm trying really hard not to snap this. Because I'm assuming that we could, yeah, it's really consistent as well. I thought it would be really scratchy, but it is so smooth. And I would imagine that we can, yeah, so we can still use the side of this as well, and that could give you some really interesting like textures. I was thinking there, like instantly, I would just make that into like the trunk of a tree. I don't know, that's just from like one smudge. That could be interesting to do a set of pictures. You know, people do like the squiggle challenge pictures. You could do one with a charcoal smear. That might be a future video. If that's something you'd like to see, let me know in the comments. So yeah, I really like the charcoal. I think I prefer the willow charcoal to this big block. This feels very manufactured, which is pretty obvious because it is, but you can really feel that difference. But I'm really impressed with the willow stuff because it's not as dry and scratchy as I thought it would be, so I'm pleasantly surprised with that. Let's see if we can smudge some of our willow charcoal. Yeah, and you're getting quite subtle effects with that as well. That's nice, I like that. And it is almost disappearing as well. You wouldn't know that I'd actually laid any of that down. Okay, oh, I like this. This is good fun. So we've got our charcoal pencil as well. Now, I would say this pencil feels like halfway between the block charcoal and the willow charcoal in terms of how smooth it feels going down. It is dry, but it's not scratchy, it's not horrible. And I'm just wondering how, yeah, that's really rich. Now obviously you would chew through a pencil quite quickly if you were going to press that hard all the time. That's actually darker and richer than the block. So you're getting, although everything's kind of black, you're getting varying shades here. And again, smudgeability is reasonable. Let's try with the cotton bud, get the clean side. So definitely getting better smudgy results with the cotton bud than I am with my finger. I want to test these erasers out. I can't remember what this white side's for on this Faber-Castell one. I know this is like the pink side's like a bendy, like what I would deem a normal eraser. Maybe this works better on charcoal than it does on other things. See, I'm not just... I mean, it's taking the charcoal away, but it's like destroying the paper underneath as well. I've like totally pooked up all the paper with that one line. This feels more like oh no, like a highlighter type. Yeah, and that's done the same thing. That's just like tearing the paper. Oh no, it's not. Okay, telling lies. But I don't really know how, how effective is that going to be for things. I think if you were going to put highlights and things, then it might have a use, but as an actual eraser, it's just like, nah, no thanks, I can live without that. Okay, let's try the kneaded eraser. I'm going to take a little bit off of this because I don't want to get it all completely manky. So let's see if we can lift. So there you go, you can see it lifts off pretty well, and that's it sticking to the actual putty. And if we use more of a standard eraser motion, you can still take away a lot of what's going on. And you can still make, like if you put it into a teeny weeny little point, you can still put in highlights and things with your kneaded eraser. You can get some quite delicate effects. So yeah, I favour that much more, and that one seems to work perfectly well, which is beautiful. I've actually got quite a lot of supplies to play with this month, I'm liking this. So we're going to test the sharpener on these pencils. These pencils do have really chunky cores in them though, and I like that because that gives you quite a lot of stability. And it's also crumbling like crazy. Not particularly happy with this, I'm just going to show you. I'm trying to do this really gently, but you can see the cores just, I mean, it's just like crumbling. Now the white one is faring slightly better, she says. Now if this is a case that these are so dry and brittle that they are broken, the cores are broken all the way down, I don't know enough about the makeup of them to suggest whether or not heating them would be an idea to fuse them back together. That works with wax pencils, because as we all know, if you put heat to wax it melts, and then if you kind of like cool it down gradually it sets back together. I'm really, look at the mess, look at the mess. I've now got a massive wedge stuck in there. This doesn't want to come out at all. I can't get it out, it's stuck. Now just to demonstrate my point, I'm going to try and get this out of here, and I'm going to sharpen a normal pencil with this sharpener to prove to you that it's not the sharpener, because I don't want the sharpener taking the blame for this, because I know fine well it's not sharpener. Okay, I have a normal pencil here. This is a Palomino Blackwing Pearl pencil. Look at the point on that bad boy. Beautiful. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with the sharpener. I am going to try a pastel pencil sharpener and see if that makes a difference. Okay, so this is a Derwent pastel sharpener. Oh, that is just horrible. I think at best you'll probably get like a nubbin of the core showing, and that's horrendous. That's absolutely horrendous. This kind of reminds me of the Derwent pastel pencils. I find them quite dry, and I found the same problem with them. They were just horrible to sharpen, so much so that I don't use them anymore. Wow, that's hard work. And there's enough there. That feels quite stable, so I'm just going to leave that one as it is and hope that it's going to be okay. Okay, so yeah, 0 points for the Rembrandt white pastel chalk pencils. To be fair, you could blame that on Scrawlrbox for not protecting it in the box, you know, because they've obviously been rattling about inside the box. So let's see what this, and I'm assuming this, yeah, this feels like a pastel pencil. It just feels like a pastel pencil. And again, it's quite easy to build the layers up, and also to smudge these out and take away, you know, sort of buff the edges off it. And let's try this kind of earthy tone as well. What colour is this? Sepia light. Yeah, I quite like this as well. This is a nice earthy tone. They just feel like really dry pastel pencils to me. I say I haven't come across these before, but I suppose as chalks, then they're kind of doing their job, other than the fact that they're hella hard to sharpen. I'm not really sure where the blender pencil is going to come into this. If I use this over the top of this, it's not really blending them. It is just smoothing it. It's more like a burnishing pencil, I think. Now, burnishing, for those of you that don't know, is when you press really hard down on the paper with a pencil and you flatten the tooth of the paper. So when you do that, that means that the paper cannot accept any more pigment, because there's no grip left in the paper because you've squashed it all down. And what it does is it gives you a nice glossy sheen. So if you're doing pencil work, you would burnish as a last layer with a colourless pencil like this, and it would give it a nice shiny finish on it, you know, almost like a varnish. I do believe burnishing is to do with polishing armour. I think that's where the phrase originated. But in terms of actually blending stuff together, yeah, there's not much blending going on here. I'm going to put this down again quite lightly, and I'm not going to smudge it out with my finger. I'm going to try and do it with this blender pencil and just see what happens. Yeah, it's not doing anything. I'm not impressed with this at all. Now, if I just hold this up to the camera, in here you can see that I had a wayward line of the earth tone of the sepia that went into the white. Now, if I was blending that with a blender, I would have expected that to disappear and not be seen as an individual line, and it's still there. So in terms of being a blending pencil, I'm not that convinced about it with these particular pencils. Now, interestingly, I just happen to have some Prismacolors here right beside me in attractive shades of purple. So let's pop this down. I'll get you zoomed in a little bit. So there we are, we have two opposing shades of purple. That stands out really nicely on this paper. So let's see what happens when we try and do it with this. Now you can see it's burnishing that colour. You see the nice flat shiny colour I'm getting when I do that. But it's not actually doing much blending, to be honest. Okay, it's done a little bit, not a huge amount. Now I'm just going to show you with the actual pencils themselves. I know I'm kind of off on a tangent a bit here, but I want to just try and demonstrate to you what blending should look like. So I'm still doing the same thing, like I am now burnishing with the coloured pencil rather than that colourless blender, because this paper will not take any more colour now. I've filled the tooth up. But if you look at that compared to that, look how smooth that transition is compared to the supposed blender pencil. So, you know, horses for courses, everyone has different opinions. I'm personally saying that this isn't going to be much use for anything, and the fact that it's not doing anything in particular to its own brand of pencils, and the fact that they've come in this box together, am I going to use it in the drawing? I might, just to smooth things out and make it look nice, but that's probably probably about as far as I'm going to go, to be honest. Anyway, I would say that's quite a comprehensive look at the supplies that come in the box. If I could produce something even like a third of the way as good as this, I think I would be a happy camper. So you can stay tuned to find out whether or not I manage that. I want to thank you all very much for watching and thank you for your support. I hope you've enjoyed this, you maybe learned something, and we shall see you in a week or so for the Scrawler Challenge video as well. Have a great day everyone, and bye for now.